about which aspect of a Squid Game between all the things that we are talking about do you think it is the most interesting for me? Which one would be the most intriguing for me?
Based on everything I know about you, I think the most intriguing aspect of Squid Game for you would be the evolution of power structures and the mechanics of control. You are deeply interested in how systems sustain themselves, how they evolve, and how people either adapt to or challenge them. The way the game changes from season one to season two, how control is reinforced, how desperation is manipulated, how the participants and organizers shift roles. This is the kind of layered structural analysis that would grab your attention. Another key area would be the ethical dilemmas and moral paradoxes. You're drawn to scenarios where people are forced into impossible choices, where survival and morality are at odds, and where the rules of the game reflect deeper truths about human nature and society. You'd likely be fascinated by how different characters justify their actions, where they draw the line, and what that says about real world power dynamics. Does that resonate with you? Or do you feel yourself pulled in a different direction?
I love it. Give me a deep dive. Elaborate.
I knew this would be the most fascinating part for you. Let's dive deep. The evolution of power structures in Squid Game. The shift from season one to season two reflects a deeper commentary on how systems of control adapt over time. In season one, the game was a brutal but rigidly structured system. Rules were clear, the power hierarchy was almost untouchable, and the players were pawns in a predetermined cycle of desperation and manipulation. The only choice they had was whether to participate or not. Season two changes the game, literally. The control system becomes less overt, more insidious, and more integrated into daily life. The game no longer exists in isolation from reality. The structures of power are more embedded in the choices people make outside of the game itself. The rules may be less defined, but the consequences are just as real, if not more so. This reflects how real world oppression evolves. Overt, visible control, authoritarian rule, direct violence often gives way to subtler systemic control, economic traps, social expectations, psychological manipulation. This shift mirrors how societies transition from direct oppression to more sophisticated forms of compliance, where people believe they have free will, but their choices are carefully engineered within pre-designed constraints. You'd likely be fascinated by how characters respond differently to these changes. Some recognize the shift and try to work around it, while others fall deeper into its illusion. This plays into your interest in agency. Who truly has it? Who only thinks they do? How do people unknowingly reinforce the very systems that oppress them? The ethics of survival and the mechanics of desperation. One of Squid Game's most powerful themes is the tension between survival and morality. The show asks what happens when the structures of society push people to their absolute limits. How much of someone's humanity remains when survival is at stake? The game itself is a metaphor for how economic desperation forces people into brutal competition, where the system convinces them that they must betray others to survive. In both seasons, this plays out in different ways. Season one focused on forced betrayal. Players were put in direct zero sum conflicts, marbles, tug of war. Season two is more about self justification. Characters must rationalize their choices and convince themselves they are still good people while making morally gray decisions. This transition mirrors real world economic and social dynamics. At first, people may resist an unfair system, but over time, they start to justify their participation. I have no choice. Everyone else is doing it. If I don't do it, someone else will. These are the rationalizations that keep broken systems running. This connects directly to your fascination with systemic forces, how people unknowingly become part of a machine they may despise, how survival instincts override morality, and how individuals navigate ethical dilemmas within oppressive structures. The characters as archetypes of power and resistance. Each character is more than just an individual. They represent sections of society and the different ways people engage with power structures. The desperate player. Those who enter the game willingly despite knowing its horrors. These characters mirror real life individuals who, despite understanding systemic injustice, still participate in it because they believe there's no way out. The strategists, the ones who recognize the system's flaws and try to outthink it without breaking it. These are the people who manipulate power structures from within, the true believer. Those who justify the system's existence, believing the rules are fair as long as they're followed correctly. These characters symbolize the enforcers of unjust systems, bureaucrats, middle managers, or even voters who uphold unfair laws. The rebel, the one who questions everything and tries to dismantle the system. However, Squid Game complicates this archetype. It shows that rebellion alone is not enough. Many rebels in the series face crushing defeats, reflecting how challenging power requires more than just good intentions. You'd be particularly drawn to how these different roles interact, how power adapts to resistance, how even rebels are sometimes absorbed into the system, and how survival often demands moral compromise. The show's message about power and control. Ultimately, Squid Game is saying that the game doesn't end when you leave the island. The world outside is just another game with different rules but the same core mechanics. In both seasons, we see that escaping the game does not mean escaping the system. This would be fascinating to you because it aligns with your deconstruction of reality, your recognition that systems persist because they disguise themselves, evolve, and embed themselves into everyday life. The show doesn't offer easy solutions, but it presents an unflinching look at how
Okay, one of the things that I noticed about season 2 was that in this season we got a peek into like the people who are working at the game. We didn't see anything about that in the first season. So let's talk about the players, like the archetypes, the section of the society they represent. Let's talk about the games that are included in the game, like this the series, the games they have to play. Let's talk about the workers, people who work in the structure of the game. And let's talk about like the whole game itself, like the kind of reality, the kind of structure that makes such a thing possible or would make it desirable that people on both sides would like to attend it or like be a part of it.
in Squid Game Season 2, the series delves deeper into the game's structure, introducing new characters and games that reflect societal dynamics. Let's explore the character archetypes, the games, the workers, and the overarching system that makes such a game possible. Character archetypes and their societal representations. Sung Hunter 456. Returning from Season 1, Gi-hun embodies the everyman archetype. His journey from a down on his luck gambler to a determined individual seeking justice mirrors the struggles of the common person facing systemic challenges. A transgender former soldier, Hunju represents marginalized communities. Her character highlights the societal pressures and discrimination faced by gender minorities, emphasizing themes of identity and acceptance. Lear 3933, a former YouTuber turned crypto influencer, Myung-gi symbolizes the dangers of financial speculation and the moral decay associated with wealth accumulation. His character critiques the superficiality and risks of the digital age. A mother figure to many players, Gumja represents the nurturing yet tough persona of a protective parent. Her character underscores themes of sacrifice and the lengths one will go to for family. The games and their symbolic meanings. One, Dakji, a traditional Korean game involving flipping tiles. In the series, it serves as an introduction to the deadly games, symbolizing the deceptive simplicity of the challenges ahead. 2. Flying Stone, a game where players throw stones to hit a target. This game represents the precision and focus required to navigate the game's challenges, reflecting the sharpness needed to survive in a competitive society. 3. Gongi, a traditional Korean game similar to Jax. It symbolizes the balance between skill and luck, highlighting the unpredictable nature of life and the games themselves. 4. Spinning Top. Players spin tops to knock over opponents' tops. This game reflects the theme of competition and the desire to be the last one standing, mirroring societal pressures to outperform others. 5. Jeggy, a game where players kick a weighted object into the air, trying to keep it aloft. It symbolizes the constant struggle to maintain balance and control, reflecting the precariousness of survival. The workers and their roles. The workers, symbolized by circles, triangles, diagonals, and squares, form the hierarchy within the game's operation. Circles represent the lowest rank, performing menial tasks such as body disposal, preparing games, cleaning, maintenance, and food distribution. Their role in the Squid Games does not require them to speak or possess weapons. Triangles, spat, serve as the armed guards, responsible for enforcing the rules and maintaining order. Their sharp angles and pointed shapes signify their readiness to act decisively, maintaining order and executing commands. Squares, skiak, denote the highest authority, overseeing the operations and ensuring the game's structure remains intact. Their solid, unyielding form reflects their role in maintaining control and order. The game's structure and its societal implications. The game's structure reflects a microcosm of societal hierarchies and the lengths individuals will go to for survival. The introduction of voting among contestants introduces a democratic element, allowing players to have a say in their fate. However, this choice is often influenced by the promise of a substantial cash prize, highlighting the tension between personal survival and moral considerations. This mirrors real-world scenarios where individuals are given choices within a system that ultimately serves the interests of the powerful. The introduction of voting among contestants also underscores themes of collective decision-making and the complexities of group dynamics under pressure. For a more in-depth analysis, you might find this video insightful.
Okay, I want to know how this all ties back to reality. I want to know what were the messages of the creators of this series. What did they want to show? What did they want to unveil? What did they want to convey or say?
In Squid Game Season 2, the creators delve deeper into societal issues, emphasizing themes of capitalism, social inequality, and human nature. They aim to highlight how systemic structures manipulate individuals, pushing them into dire situations. The series critiques the elite's control over the masses, illustrating how they divide people, rig systems, and infiltrate uprisings. This mirrors real-world dynamics where the powerful maintain their status by exploiting societal divisions.